Yeah, it's kind of unusual. Most of the population of the world do go to school, and like sometimes when I meet a school person, like and we have maybe a chat, and they'd be like, and I'd be like, yeah. So are you? So where do you go to school? And I was like, I don't go to school. And I was like, really? Wow. And they're quite surprised.
I played soccer on the local team in Tullow since from when I was 9 till maybe 14 or 15. Like, soccer was a huge part of my life. And all the lads in there, like, they got used to it. But when they first heard, they asked the general question. I mean, 9 years old, they asked the general question: can you read? Can you write? What's 6 plus 7? Kind of thing. You know, do you have any friends? Etc. Etc. They got over it, and then, you know, as I met more people from their friends, they all kind of asked the same questions. You know, what's 6 times a billion, kind of thing. And as a joke, it's kind of a joke around hen that you'd always pretend to not know the answer. You kind of go, is it 6 billion, kind of thing? And then, you know, they'd be like, oh, no, this guy's stupid.
Lots of the people I met think that homeschooling is like school at home, but it's not like that at all. It's you do of course education at home, but like it's not the school curriculum at all. I never have a strict curriculum any day. It's always like what I feel like.
What should you do?
Just love baking these cookies. They're so easy.
Baking more than eating them, or eating them more than
Baking them more than eating them.
Seriously?
Yes, it's funner to bake.
So was the plan always to homeschool?
Yep, I was very lucky. I had my first child, I was in college, I was 19. I left to be a full-time mommy because I just thought it was, I didn't want to see anybody else. My mother offered to let me stay in college and for her to raise my son, and I didn't think that was a good idea, so I thought she'd done her bit with 6 of her own, so I was lucky. I went to live in Kilkenny with a family in exchange for room and board. I did a bit of childcare for them, and they homeschooled. They're an English family. Elva won't share?
No!
Would you like some?
There.
And they had all the resources. They had John Holt's books, how children fail and how children learn, and just through them I found out about homeschooling. I just thought,
Eat this.
wow. But then because I thought, oh gosh, I need to be able to teach him if he's learning at home, and so I did a Montessori course by correspondence, and I found that really interesting for the insight into kids' minds, really.
It's simple for me because I do things like I learn from my mistakes. I learn from, like, I very rarely have to look at that, and some kids might, like, in school maybe, I'm not sure, but this is just a thought. They might think, oh, I don't know what that is. What is it again? Right? And when the teacher's not looking, you might go like, something like that maybe. I'm not sure, but that's what I thought. And first class maths, it was mostly like, it's not even math. They do things like colour in 5s. I just count. I already know. I just find it way too simple. So I hope, like, when I go up to third class math, hope it's going to be a bit trickier, so I actually get to learn.
I think when you're with your child all the time and you see them learn to walk and talk very organically and very at their own pace, it's not like you sit a toddler down and say, right, today you will learn how to climb the stairs. You know, there's some inbuilt mechanism in a child where they're ready to explore and they do that, and you provide a safe environment and watch sometimes with your heart in your mouth and make it as safe as possible, and yet don't cost them from all the risks. And I didn't kind of see why learning to read and count had to be different to that. I suppose there was a selfishness in it too, because I just didn't want to miss out on any of the learning, and I didn't want to miss out on any of the eureka moments. I didn't want to miss the child's first tooth, first step, so I wasn't putting them in creches or letting my mum rear them, and I didn't want to miss out on them discovering letters and numbers and all the other wonderful things we discover in a day. I see intelligence as connections, being able to make connections between various, what often looks like random bits of information, and just putting those together. I know my first child is 25 now, was very into the Teenage Mutant Turtles at the time, and I was kind of, television and popular culture, and maybe it's not the best thing, blah, blah, blah. But we were walking home from the park and he was 4, and he picked out, there was a manhole cover on the road, and he picked out the letter R because he knew it from Raphael. And I just thought, wow, I didn't decide to teach him R today. We were walking back from the swings and he said, there's an R. Even though Eamon has a DS and he's only 4, and I'd be kind of I suppose my biggest challenge I find with homeschooling is that I feel I need to limit the telly, because I just feel there's a constant pull, and particularly some children are very drawn to that. And I like the Steiner idea about kind of keeping your children away from electronics, and they would actually say till 12, if you can at all. And we haven't achieved that.
Owen, I like to electronics when after lunch maybe, or after dinner, or after schoolwork. Like, I do schoolwork every day. Like.
And do you like that? Do you enjoy that?
No, maybe sometimes.
But you know you have to do it.
Yeah, but I have to do it, because then I'll kind of do electronic.
So when I wake up, I get dressed, I go downstairs and then have my breakfast, and then after I bring in sticks or something. Like, sometimes I don't bring in sticks immediately. I draw a picture first or play piano first. But then after that, there's just infinite possibilities. Play piano, write music, paint figures, build Lego, do maths, draw a picture, write a poem, just creative things like that. Paint a picture, there's infinite possibilities. Go for a walk, and they're all really enjoyable. Like, I really enjoy them. Do you need help, Bob?
No, I thought the horse was Let go of me.
No, just let go, Bob, and I'll have you.
No, you let go of me. Then I can get down above myself.
Okay. There's an awful lot of people that are homeschooling nowadays, and they all have different opinions, but my thing is the freedom. The freedom is just so brilliant. Like, in schools, some people are like, oh, I hate history, or I hate geography, or I hate maths, or I hate English, and if you do not love something, you're not going to get any better at it, because you don't want to learn it. And in homeschooling, you're going to remember it, it's going to benefit, and you can do what you love. The reason I come down here often is it kind of inspires me sometimes to write a story or to
to like paint something. The scenery here relates to my kind of stories because I usually write kind of fantasy, sword fighting, medieval stories, you know. So something like this would inspire me greatly.
I really trust that a child is going to learn what they need to learn when they need to learn it. I remember the first one homeschooler I spoke to said that her child really wasn't interested in reading, and she said one day he's going to realise that he was very interested in machinery and very mechanically gifted actually, but she said one day he's going to realise that to get to a certain point, to get to where he'd like to be with his knowledge, he's going to have to start reading some engineering books, and that proved to be the case. And so he got the literacy that she wanted him to have on a general level anyway through his own interest.
If someone was doing absolutely no schooling and learning nothing, I would see that as pretty, like, I'd probably think they should go to school if they can't find anything they're interested in. I think if you're not even picking up a book and like reading or doing music, like, you're still going to learn a little of your like parents. You should, like, I've learned loads out of just listening to adults and parents having conversations.
I suppose our main method really of information passing on is through informal discussion, and kids ask questions and then we go looking for answers together if we don't know them, and we don't need to know a lot of them, and kids ask, you know, hundreds of questions every day that I haven't a clue of, so I have to go and find it out myself, you know, so, or find it out with them. And yeah, Google is a great tool.
It's really funny, like if I come up with a question, even at the dinner table, Mum will get up and she'll come over to hear these books and she'll look for an atlas or something, or to find out the answer. She's always at it. We always laugh at her because like it's at dinner and we're kind of like, just sit down and eat, we can find it afterwards. But yeah, she's always been like that. She's always kind of gone and trying to get the answer. I think in home education you kind of learn how to learn, if you know what I mean. I know that sounds kind of, but you learn how that it's the person who learns rather than the teacher teaches.
For us it works. It suits us. It works. For people who are in school might suit them, and that's the way they decided to live their life, and that's wonderful and fantastic. However, I do see in many regards there's a disconnect between young people and adults in modern society, and I do think that a lot of that is down to the opportunities that adults have to actually listen to children, to listen to where children are at and what's driving them. And in school, a lot of those opportunities are actually neglected. They're just not there. It's the children listen to the adults, and that's really it.
My dad, I really can't believe some things that my dad has told me. Some schools, the schools that I've been to, the school that Dad used to work in and the school that Oisin used to go to, they didn't look, well, it just schools, they sort of look a bit grumpy.
The schools are stress buildings. I've worked in one for a long time, so I can tell. Whereas home educated children just seem to want to learn. I go around to schools and I ask 6 years how are they feeling, and the words are stressed, terrified comes up a lot, and worried and under pressure, and they're the feelings. They will spend a whole year feeling those feelings for an exam, which may or may not give them a job, that they actually like doing. And their parents are stressed, and the teachers are stressed, and yet it seems to be okay. That's okay.
I always think when I meet new homeschoolers now, there's a big difference between the parents' mindset when their children are under 10 and then the over 10s, because for a lot of families it seems to me this great sort of, well, I hope it's going to work, and I think it's going to work, and I believe my heart's going to work, and I feel it's going to work, but I don't really know it works until it works, until you have a kid at the end of it who's 18 and out and doing their own thing.
I don't think I'd change the education I have so far for any other education I could get. I think my education for me was perfect. You know, I am where I want to be, and I know the things I want to know, and if I want to know more, I know how to find out.
But who decides what's a good life? Like, who decides whose story is a better story? Every human has a story, and every human story to me is absolutely equal. You know, every human has the dignity. Their story needs to be heard by someone that they love, and they need to appreciate that it's the best story they have, that they are living the story they're meant to live, rather than living a story that somebody else decides that this is, or you should do this, or you should become that, or whether the person enjoys it or not.
The good soldier jabbed at the baddie's head. The goody archer shot the baddie soldier in the back. The goody knights raised their weapons and shouted victory. At morning, the knights went to the valley where the baddie knights lived, and they fixed it up. They grew grass and they put sand there. The grass grew to a beautiful field, and they grew vegetables. The end. What do you think of that story?
I just think the last line. They
It's
grew vegetables.
it's a great ending to the